Biblical scholars have argued for years about the location of these holy sites. Now, one man says he might have found them.
Beneath one of the most sacred mountains on Earth, a locked vault lay hidden, undisturbed for centuries. Many believed it was a myth. Others believed it was too dangerous to open. But when archaeologists finally gained access, they weren't prepared for what awaited them inside. Ancient symbols, unexplainable artifacts, and evidence that raises more questions than answers. Subscribe and join us as we uncover the details of this discovery. The mountain of mystery, legends, faith, and the first clues. Rising high above the dry deserts of Egypt's Sinai Peninsula, Mount Sinai has long been wrapped in a deep sense of mystery and holiness. It is more than a mountain. It is a place that links history, belief, and endless curiosity. People from different ages and faiths have viewed it with both awe and fear for thousands of years. Its rugged slopes and quiet valleys have been believed to be the meeting point between heaven and earth. In the Bible, Mount Sinai is known as the Holy Mountain, where Moses received the Ten Commandments from God. This moment, described in the book of Exodus, gave the mountain its lasting fame. It is said that the peak of Sinai was covered in smoke and thunder as Moses climbed alone to speak with the divine. When he returned, he carried 2 stone tablets carved with laws meant to guide humanity. Because of this story, Mount Sinai became one of the strongest symbols of faith and obedience in religious history. The mountain holds great importance not only in Judaism, but also in Christianity and Islam. In Judaism, it represents the beginning of divine law. In Christianity, it stands as the place where God revealed His power and compassion. In Islam, it is respected as the site where Prophet Musa, known as Moses, spoke with Allah. These shared beliefs have turned Sinai into a connecting point among religions, attracting pilgrims from across the world. For centuries, men and women have crossed the scorching sands to touch its stones and pray upon its peaks. The landscape of Mount Sinai adds even more wonder to its story. It rises within the harsh terrain of the Sinai Peninsula, between the Gulf of Suez and the Gulf of Aqaba. The surrounding region consists of jagged mountains, dry valleys, and endless desert lands. The climb is difficult, and the weather can shift suddenly, blazing hot during the day and bitterly cold at night. This severe environment gives the mountain a remote and untouched beauty. At the base of the mountain lies St. Catherine's Monastery, one of the oldest Christian monasteries still in use today. It was built in the 6th century by order of the Byzantine Emperor Justinian. The monastery holds priceless ancient manuscripts, sacred icons, and what is believed to be the burning bush seen by Moses. Over time, this holy site became a refuge for monks, travelers, and scholars. Its thick stone walls and peaceful courtyards have witnessed history for more than 14 centuries. Throughout history, many strange and captivating stories have been shared about Mount Sinai. Ancient travelers spoke of mysterious lights appearing at the summit during the night. Some claimed they heard gentle voices carried by the wind or saw flashes of fire disappearing into the clouds. These moments were viewed as signs of divine presence, proof that the mountain remained touched by something beyond human understanding. Legends also tell of hidden relics buried deep inside the mountain. Some believe that after Moses descended, sacred objects were placed in secret chambers to protect them from danger. Over time, stories grew of the lost Ark of the Covenant, a golden chest said to contain the original stone tablets, being hidden somewhere beneath Sinai's rocks. Local Bedouin tribes have shared legends of forbidden caves, echoing passages, and treasures said to be cursed by ancient spirits. They believe anyone who enters these places without respect would never return. During the 18th and 19th centuries, European scholars, explorers, and archaeologists journeyed to Sinai searching for proof that could support biblical events. The severe climate and distant location made their travels difficult, but curiosity drove them forward. They drew maps, gathered rock samples, and observed strange formations that resembled sealed doorways or carved symbols. Some claimed they discovered markings on stone that did not match any known language. However, because modern tools were unavailable, many of their discoveries were dismissed as natural formations. Their notes and sketches, however, remain stored in archives, waiting for future generations to study. Even with modern research, many mysteries about Mount Sinai remain unanswered. Scientists, historians, and believers still debate its true location and what lies beneath it. The mountain's silence hides countless secrets, and every attempt to explore deeper seems to reveal more mystery. In recent years, whispers have begun to spread about a sealed underground structure discovered far below Mount Sinai many decades ago. Records state that it was found accidentally during a small geological survey, but was never opened or examined further. The structure's existence remained unconfirmed, hidden within old reports and forgotten photographs. Yet, some believe it holds something extraordinary, perhaps the key to understanding one of the oldest mysteries of humankind. What could possibly be hidden beneath this sacred mountain? Could it be a natural cave, an ancient burial site, or something even older than history itself? Legends that would not stop. Long before scientists and explorers reached Mount Sinai with their machines and scanners, the desert had already been speaking. It whispered through winds that swept across the barren land, through the shifting sands that buried forgotten paths, and through the stories passed from one generation to the next. To the people who lived nearby, Mount Sinai was not only a place of faith, but also a living mystery. It stood like a guardian of the past, holding secrets that felt too great for human hands. For thousands of years, travelers and pilgrims came to the mountain searching for meaning. Some came to pray, others to seek forgiveness, and a few to chase legends. Among the Bedouins, who had roamed these lands for centuries, there were stories shared beside desert fires about lights that appeared near the mountain at night. These lights were soft, blue, and fleeting. They danced for only a moment before fading into the darkness. Some believed they were angels keeping watch. Others thought they were spirits guarding something sacred buried deep under the mountain's stone heart. Whatever they were, they never appeared twice in the same place, as if the mountain itself shifted its secrets to keep them hidden. Centuries ago, during the Byzantine era, monks from St. Catherine's Monastery discovered a set of old scrolls sealed in clay jars. When they opened them, they found writings that blended several ancient languages: Hebrew, Aramaic, and Proto-Sinaitic markings. Most of the scrolls were familiar prayers or psalms, but one stood apart. It described a chamber built not by human effort, but by the command of a divine voice. The scroll said this hidden chamber rested beneath the very mountain where the sacred laws were given to Moses. The monks were afraid. They believed the text might be blasphemous, so they sealed it again and hid it deep within the monastery's walls. Time passed, the monks passed away, and new generations arrived. The scroll's existence slowly faded from memory. Many centuries later, stories began to return among tribes who camped near the mountain's base. Around the 12th century, some spoke of hearing deep rhythmic sounds from beneath the earth during the night. The sounds were not like thunder or earthquakes. They were steady, slow, and powerful, almost like the breathing of a sleeping giant. One brave man tried to dig near the place where the sound was strongest, but his tools shattered upon striking something solid and smooth beneath the sand. Frightened, he stopped, and the place was named Maktaf el-Nure, which meant the passage of light. No one ever tried to dig there again. Those who did either vanished or returned in strange states of mind, speaking words no one could understand. In the year 1693, an Italian explorer named Matteo di Rossi reached the Sinai Peninsula while following long-forgotten pilgrim routes. During one of his journeys, he traded supplies with a group of nomads who gave him a fragment of a copper plate. The metal piece had lines and shapes etched into it, forming a pattern that appeared to reflect the mountain's landscape. When he returned to Rome, scholars studied it and noticed it also showed a hollow spiral running beneath the mountain's surface. It did not seem natural. The spiral appeared to descend into the earth with perfect geometric balance. Some believed it was symbolic, representing the soul's path toward enlightenment, while others thought it pointed to a real underground passage. The plate later vanished from Rome's archives, but written descriptions survived, leaving behind evidence of something that could not be easily explained. Over the following centuries, the legends only became stronger. Scholars, explorers, and mystics each presented their own ideas. Some claimed the mountain was the remains of a celestial impact, that something from the sky had once struck the earth there. Others observed unusual magnetic activity around the mountain. Compasses spun without control, instruments failed, and electrical signals stopped without warning. Scientists suggested these effects might come from natural magnetic minerals, but no single explanation ever fully worked. Mystics went further, believing Mount Sinai stood on one of the world's oldest energy centers, a place where the spiritual and physical worlds overlapped. To them, the rumored chamber beneath was not simply a place to store relics, but a gateway sealed until humanity was ready to receive divine truth. The monks of St. Catherine's Monastery also carried secrets of their own. In the late 19th century, when European scholars visited the monastery to study its ancient manuscripts, they noticed the older monks acted strangely whenever questions about the mountain's depths were raised. Conversations would end suddenly, and the monks would walk away while whispering short prayers. When one visitor asked if tunnels existed beneath the monastery, an elderly monk replied with a single chilling sentence: "The mountain keeps what the mountain swallows." No maps showed such tunnels, but carvings near the back of the monastery's courtyard revealed faint signs of ancient stonework pointing toward the mountain. Whatever those markings once indicated had been deliberately erased. In the year 1927, a storm unlike any before swept across the region. Lightning struck the northern slope of Mount Sinai, breaking open a large section of rock. When locals examined the area afterward, they saw strange symbols carved into the exposed surface. Two serpents coiled around a circle. Some believed it was a sign of duality, representing heaven and earth, while others thought it marked the entrance to a forbidden place. Before deeper study could take place, another storm buried the area again beneath rock and sand. Only a few black and white photographs of the symbols survived. Those images became silent evidence that something beneath the mountain may have been intentionally sealed. Decades later, geologists studying the desert made even more puzzling discoveries. The mountain's magnetic readings did not match normal geological patterns. Instruments would shut down or fail whenever they moved close to certain areas. One scientist documented steady vibrations deep below the ground, repeating every few seconds like a pulse. It felt almost as if the mountain had a heartbeat. Local people were not surprised. They simply said, "The mountain lives." Machines, they warned, did not belong there. These accounts were ignored by many researchers, but for those who paid attention, the mystery only grew deeper. Midway through the 20th century, a forgotten Coptic text was found among ancient manuscripts. It spoke of a sealed chamber of light beneath the throne of the covenant. Historians argued over its meaning for years. Was it symbolic or real? When scholars compared the geographic details in the text with modern maps, the coordinates closely matched Mount Sinai. One passage mentioned a future time when the sands would open and the voice of the stones would speak again. This line later troubled archaeologists, as it seemed to foretell something waiting below the sands, ready to reveal itself when the time was right. By the early 21st century, technology began to catch up with ancient legends. Satellite images showed unusual reflections near the southern base of the mountain. They appeared suddenly and disappeared within seconds. At first, experts believed they were caused by minerals reflecting sunlight, but the movements were too fast and too irregular. When compared with old Bedouin stories, they matched descriptions of the dancing lights seen long ago. Science was now observing what legend had always known. Governments briefly limited access to the area, citing laws meant to protect archaeological sites, but rumors spread faster than official statements. Some believed the lights came from buried metal structures. Others thought powerful energy fields were trapped underground. The whispers returned stronger than before. Across the world, researchers began re-examining the legends. From hidden scrolls to lost maps, every clue pointed back to one place: Mount Sinai. Each generation had left behind its own fragment of the puzzle. A line in a manuscript, a carved stone, a faded map, or a strange symbol. Together, they formed a path that seemed far too deliberate to be chance. Over the centuries, countless seekers had traveled to Sinai, drawn not only by faith but by curiosity. Among them were desert hermits, who claimed to see visions of glowing halls beneath the mountain. They spoke of walls made of gold-like stone, echoing with deep tones felt in the chest rather than the ears. Their stories were dismissed as dreams or madness. Yet when modern ground sensors later detected unexplained vibrations at similar depths, those old tales suddenly seemed less impossible. Even the mountain's animals behaved in unusual ways. Goats refused to feed near certain areas. Birds avoided nesting close to its higher ridges. And local shepherds said that on quiet nights, the air carried faint sounds of chanting. The echoes were rhythmic, almost human. Some said it was only the wind playing tricks. Others believed it was the mountain remembering prayers from long ago. The more people searched, the more connections appeared. Ancient Hebrew records spoke of a chamber of safekeeping built after the commandments were received. Early Christian writings mentioned a vault of truth hidden until the chosen hour. Old Islamic texts describe the place where the light of God rests between earth and heaven. Though these words came from different traditions, they all pointed to the same place, the mountain where Moses spoke with God. By the end of the 20th century, archaeologists began to take these overlapping clues seriously. They started using advanced scanning tools to map what lay beneath Mount Sinai's surface. Early readings revealed unusual density patterns in certain areas, zones that did not match natural rock formations. Beneath the visible summit, layers of stone appeared arranged with unnatural symmetry, as if placed with intention. No one drew conclusions yet, but quietly, theories began to form. The more researchers investigated, the clearer it became that Mount Sinai was not only a sacred place of faith, but also a geological and historical puzzle. Every layer of soil, every carved stone seemed to point toward a deeper secret. For centuries, the world had gazed at its peak, assuming that was where the divine story ended. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and be sure to click on the next video shown on your screen.